Millionaire sees cleaner being insulted and explodes with rage. Richard Thompson was walking through the corridors of his hotel when he heard shouts coming from the main hall. His life as a successful businessman was about to change completely because of a scene he would witness. That's when he saw manager Victoria Parker screaming at cleaner Martha Jenkins, who was holding the pieces of a crystal glass with trembling hands. "You broke it on purpose to hurt me," shouted Victoria, pointing her finger at Martha. "This costs more than 3 months of your salary." Martha lowered her head, trying to gather the pieces scattered on the marble floor. "Ma'am Victoria, it was an accident. The glass was cracked and—" "Liar!" the manager cut her off. "You're fired! Get your things and leave immediately." Richard watched from the entrance of the hall, feeling anger growing inside him. Martha had worked there for over 15 years, and he saw her every day, always discreet, always dedicated. He had never had any problems with her. "What's going on here?" asked Richard, approaching the two women. Victoria paled when she saw her boss. She didn't expect him to witness that scene. "Mr. Thompson, I didn't know you were in the hotel. This employee broke one of our most expensive crystal glasses and—" "Martha," said Richard, looking directly at the cleaner. "Tell me what happened." Martha raised her eyes, surprised to be called by her name. In 15 years, that was the first time the hotel owner had addressed her personally. "Sir, I was cleaning the table when I picked up the glass. It had a small crack on the rim, and when I tried to take it to the kitchen, it broke in my hand." Richard examined the pieces on the floor and clearly noticed the crack Martha had mentioned. "Victoria, this glass was already damaged. Why are you blaming Martha?" "But sir, she what?" Richard raised his voice. "She's worked here for 15 years without ever causing any problems, and you're ready to fire her for an accident with a glass that was already broken." The atmosphere in the hall became tense. Other employees began to approach, curious about the argument. "Martha, I'm sorry about this," said Richard. "Victoria, I want to speak with you in my office now." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. In the office, Richard sat behind the desk while Victoria remained standing, visibly nervous. "Victoria, in how many years working here have you ever seen Martha cause any problems?" "Sir, Answer the question." "No, sir. She's always been an exemplary employee." "Then why did you explode at her like that today?" Victoria hesitated before answering. There was something she didn't want to reveal. "It was just a moment of stress, sir. The hotel is full and—" "Victoria, we both know that's not true. I want you to be honest with me." Richard had built his hotel empire based on trust and respect for people. What he had witnessed went against everything he believed in. Martha never complains, never causes problems. She always finds wallets, jewelry, and valuable objects forgotten by guests and turns them in at the front desk. She's one of the most honest employees we have. "Yes, sir," murmured Victoria. "Then explain to me what really happened today." Victoria knew she couldn't lie much longer. The truth was that she had been having personal financial problems and had started becoming more aggressive with all employees. "Mr. Thompson, I've been very stressed lately. My husband lost his job, and we're going through difficulties. I took out my frustration on Martha unfairly." Richard sighed. He understood the financial pressures, but that didn't justify Victoria's behavior. "Victoria, personal problems shouldn't affect how you treat the staff. Martha didn't deserve to be humiliated like that." "You're right, sir, I lost control. You will apologize to her publicly, and I want you to re-evaluate your behavior with the entire team." When Victoria left the office, Richard sat thinking about what he had witnessed. He realized he might have been too distant from the employees and didn't truly know their stories. He decided to find Martha to talk. He found her in the break room, arranging her belongings with tears in her eyes. "Martha, may I speak with you?" She turned around, quickly wiping her face. "Of course, Mr. Thompson. Please have a seat. I want to apologize for what happened today." "There's no need to apologize, sir. Mrs. Parker already came here and said she was sorry. Even so, I'm truly sorry. In 15 years, was this the first time I've witnessed you being treated unfairly here?" Martha hesitated. There was something in her eyes that Richard couldn't decipher. "Sir, may I be frank?" "Of course. This wasn't the first time. Mrs. Parker is often quite harsh with the cleaning staff. Whenever something goes missing or breaks, she automatically blames us." Richard felt his blood boil. How was this happening in his hotel without him knowing? Why has no one ever told me this? "Sir, who's going to believe a cleaner over a manager? We stay quiet to avoid losing our jobs." "Martha, tell me more. I want to know exactly what's been happening." She took a deep breath before continuing. "Last week, a gold bracelet went missing from room 304. Mrs. Parker accused me of stealing it, even though I hadn't worked on that floor that day." "And what happened to the bracelet?" "The guest called the next day saying she had forgotten it in her bag, but Mrs. Parker never apologized." Richard grew increasingly outraged. How had he allowed this to happen in his establishment? "Martha, tell me about your life. You've worked here for 15 years and I know nothing about you." "Sir, I don't want to take up your time. I want to know, please." Martha adjusted her blue uniform, clearly nervous about speaking personally with the hotel owner. "I'm 58 years old and raised my daughter alone. She had a child very young and ended up passing when my grandson was just 2 years old. Since then, I've been taking care of Tyler, who's now 17. "You raised your grandson alone?" "Yes, sir, with the salary from here and cleaning some houses on weekends. Tyler is a good boy. He's in his last year of high school." Richard was moved by Martha's story. A woman who worked so hard to raise her grandson and was still treated disrespectfully in his own hotel. "Martha, have you ever thought about studying, taking a technical course or going to college?" "Sir, I have thought about it. Actually, I started studying business administration when I was young, but had to stop when my daughter was born. I never managed to go back." "Why not?" "I work 7 days a week, sir, and any extra money needs to go to Tyler." Richard had an idea that would change not only Martha's life, but the dynamics of the entire hotel. "Martha, how about if I offered you a different schedule? You could work part-time and study during the other half of the day." "Sir, that would be wonderful, but I can't make less money. Tyler wants to take engineering entrance exams, and I need to help with the costs." "Who said anything about making less? I'm thinking about a promotion." Martha's eyes filled with tears. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. "A promotion, sir?" "Yes. You know this hotel better than anyone. You see everything that happens, you know all the staff. How about becoming supervisor of the cleaning team?" "Sir, I don't know what to say." "Say you accept. With the supervisor position, you'd have a higher salary and could organize your schedule to study." Martha couldn't stop crying. In 15 years working there, she never imagined she would be recognized in this way. "I accept, sir. Thank you so much." "Excellent. Tomorrow we'll announce your promotion." When Richard left the locker room, he was determined to make profound changes in the hotel's management. He couldn't allow dedicated employees like Martha to be mistreated. The next day, the news of Martha's promotion spread quickly through the hotel. Reactions were mixed. Susan, one of the most senior cleaners, was happy for her colleague. "Martha, you deserve it. You've always been the most dedicated of all of us." But not everyone was pleased. Some employees, especially those closer to Victoria, began to murmur in the hallways. "How did a simple cleaner become supervisor out of nowhere?" commented Brittany, another cleaner. "There must be something behind this," whispered Brian from maintenance. Victoria, for her part, was furious but couldn't show it openly. She knew any negative comment about Richard's decision could cost her job. Martha began her new duties nervously. Being supervisor meant coordinating a team of 8 people, something she had never done before. On the first day, she gathered the whole team in the meeting room. "Everyone, I know this change might seem strange to you. Yesterday I was one of you and today I'm supervisor." "Martha, you've always been one of us," said Susan. "That won't change anything." "Thank you, Susan. I want to make it clear that I won't change who I am. We'll continue working as a team, but now with more organization." Brittany crossed her arms, clearly dissatisfied. "And what's going to be different?" "We'll still be doing the same thing. The difference is that now we'll have more flexible schedules and a fairer time-off system. I'll also create a productivity bonus system." This caught everyone's interest. There had never been bonuses for the cleaning team. "How does this bonus work?" asked Walter, one of the most senior employees. "After talking with Mr. Richard, we created a system where you earn extra based on the quality of your work and the number of compliments from guests." The employees were excited about the news. For the first time, they felt their work would truly be valued. Martha spent the first few weeks observing the work routine and identifying problems that could be improved. She noticed there was a lot of material waste and that the schedules weren't well distributed. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing. On a Friday, Martha presented her first suggestions to Richard. "Mr. Thompson, I've analyzed our routine and found some improvements we can make." "Excellent, Martha. Tell me about your ideas." "First, we can save 30% on cleaning supplies by buying concentrated products and diluting them here. Second, by reorganizing the schedules, we can clean all the rooms 2 hours earlier." Richard was impressed with the detailed analysis Martha had done. "And how did you reach these conclusions?" "Sir, 15 years doing this work taught me where the waste is. I just never had the opportunity to talk about it before." "Perfect. Implement your suggestions and keep me informed of the results." Martha was radiant. Finally, her ideas were being heard and valued, but not everything was going well. Victoria hadn't digested Martha's promotion and began creating small obstacles in the new supervisor's work. When Martha requested the purchase of concentrated products, Victoria took a week to approve the order. "Martha, I can't approve expenses without carefully analyzing them," said Victoria with a fake smile. "Ms. Victoria, Mr. Richard has already approved. I just need your signature on the requisition. I'll analyze it and then sign." Martha realized Victoria was deliberately creating difficulties. She decided to speak directly with Richard about the situation. "Sir, may I speak about a problem I'm facing?" "Of course, Martha. What's happening?" "Miss Victoria is making it hard to implement the improvements. She's taking too long to approve requisitions you've already authorized." Richard wasn't surprised. He already suspected Victoria might create problems. "Martha, from now on you can come directly to me when you need approvals. I'll have another talk with Victoria." That same day, Richard called Victoria into a meeting. "Victoria, I've been hearing you're creating difficulties for Martha to implement the improvements I approve." "Sir, I'm just following protocols." "Victoria, be frank with me. Do you have any problem with Martha's promotion?" Victoria knew she couldn't lie anymore. "Sir, I admit I was surprised by the promotion. Martha has always been a good employee, but she has no supervision experience." "And how do you think she'll gain experience if she doesn't get the opportunity? You were also promoted without experience at some point in your career." Victoria lowered her head. Richard was right. "I want you to support Martha in her duties. Any difficulty you create for her, you're creating for me. Is that clear?" "Yes, sir. I'll cooperate fully." With Richard's support and Victoria's forced cooperation, Martha managed to implement her improvements. The results appeared quickly. In 1 month, the hotel saved 25% on cleaning supply costs, and rooms started being ready 90 minutes earlier, allowing for early check-ins for guests. "Martha, the results are excellent," said Richard during one of their weekly meetings. "Guests have been praising the cleanliness and efficiency." "Thank you, sir. The team is motivated with the bonus system. Everyone wants to do their best work possible." "And how are your studies going?" Martha had enrolled in a technical hospitality course at night. "It's demanding, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm learning things I can apply here at the hotel." "I'm glad to hear that. Martha, I have a proposal for you." "What is it, sir?" "How about, in addition to cleaning supervisor, you also take on housekeeping coordination? You'd be responsible for the entire hotel's housekeeping operation." Martha was shocked. Housekeeping coordinator was a very important position in any hotel. "Sir, that would be a big responsibility. Coordinating housekeepers, supervising linen inventory, controlling the entire operation." "Exactly. And I believe you have the capability for it. Think it over carefully." Martha spent the whole night thinking about the proposal. It would be a big challenge, but also a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The next day, she sought out Richard. "Sir, I accept the challenge. I want to be housekeeping coordinator." "Excellent. We'll make the transition gradually. For 1 month, you'll shadow all housekeeping activities to learn." The news of Martha's new promotion caused even more reactions at the hotel. Some employees began questioning the promotion criteria. "In 6 months, she went from cleaner to coordinator," commented Anthony from the food and beverage department. "That's not normal." "There must be something we don't know," murmured Jessica from the front desk. The comments reached Martha's ears, and she became very upset. She had never done anything other than work with dedication. She discussed this with her grandson Tyler when she got home. "Grandma, people are just jealous. You worked your whole life for this opportunity," said the 17-year-old. "But Tyler, they're questioning my character, as if I did something wrong to get those promotions." "Grandma, you know the truth. Mr. Richard knows the truth. That's what matters." Tyler was right, but Martha knew she'd need to deal with some co-workers' resistance. On Monday, she called a meeting with all housekeeping staff. "Team, I know my promotion surprised many of you. I want to clarify some things." "Martha, you deserve it," said Deborah, one of the most senior housekeepers. "You've always been dedicated and honest." "Thank you, Deborah. But I know not everyone feels that way. I want to make clear I never did anything but good work. My promotions came from recognition of my work and the improvements I implemented." "Martha," said Gerald, the laundry supervisor, "we all know that. Those complaining are just jealous." Martha's sincerity and most staff's support helped ease tensions. She took on her new responsibilities with determination. As housekeeping coordinator, Martha implemented even more improvements. She created a housekeeper rotation system to prevent overload, established clearer quality standards, and set up regular team training. The results were extraordinary. The hotel received its best cleanliness ratings on travel websites, and housekeeping complaints practically vanished. Richard was impressed with the transformation. "Martha, in 8 months, you've revolutionized the hotel's housekeeping. I'm proud of your growth." "Thank you, sir, but none of this would be possible without your support." "Martha, I have another proposal for you." Martha laughed. Richard's proposals always meant new challenges. "What now, sir?" "I'm thinking of opening a second hotel here in New York City. I'd like you to be the operations manager." Martha nearly fainted. Operations manager was an executive position, something she never imagined reaching. "Mr. Richard, this is... I don't even know what to say." "No need to answer now. Think it over carefully. It would be a smaller boutique hotel, but you'd have full autonomy over operations." Martha left the meeting with her head spinning. In less than a year, she'd gone from cleaner to potential operations manager. When she told Tyler, her grandson was thrilled. "Grandma, you're going to be a manager. That's amazing." "Tyler, I'm afraid I might not handle it. It's so much responsibility." "Grandma, if Mr. Richard is offering, it's because he believes in you, and I believe in you too." Martha spent days reflecting. It would be a huge career step, but also meant even more responsibilities and pressure. A week later, she approached Richard. "Sir, I accept being operations manager for the new hotel." "Excellent. Let's start planning everything. The hotel will be in Williamsburg, targeting a younger, more modern crowd." Martha immersed herself in studying the new project. She participated in location selection, architectural planning, and initial staff hiring. Meanwhile, back at the original hotel, her absence began to be felt. Housekeeping wasn't functioning as well without her direct supervision. Victoria, who had never accepted Martha's success, saw an opportunity to cause trouble. "Mr. Richard," she said during a meeting, "housekeeping has been having problems since Martha's been focused on the new project." "What kind of problems?" "Cleaning delays, guest complaints about poorly made rooms, staff arriving late." Richard grew concerned. Had he promoted Martha too quickly? He decided to discuss the situation with her. "Martha, Victoria reported some problems in housekeeping." "What's happening?" Martha sighed. She knew this conversation was coming. "Sir, I admit that dividing my attention between the current hotel and the new project has been difficult. But I can solve this." "How?" "By promoting Deborah to head housekeeper here and dedicating myself fully to the new hotel. Richard considered the suggestion. Deborah was one of the most experienced housekeepers and had the respect of the entire team. Do you think she has the right qualities for the position? I'm certain. Deborah has worked here for 12 years, knows all the processes, and has natural leadership. All right, let's make this transition. Deborah's promotion was well received by the team, and the housekeeping issues were quickly resolved. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. Martha was then able to dedicate herself completely to the new hotel. 3 months later, the Williamsburg Boutique Hotel was ready to open. Martha, said Richard the day before the opening, you've done an exceptional job. This hotel is perfect. Thank you, sir. It was a team effort. Martha, I have one last surprise for you. Martha was already used to Richard's surprises, but this one was special. I want to offer you a minority stake in the new hotel, 5% ownership. Martha felt her legs go weak. Becoming a partner was something she had never even imagined. Sir, that's impossible. I don't have the money to... Martha, you don't need to pay anything. Your share of the profits will be your stake. You deserve to own a part of what you helped build. Martha began to cry. In 2 years, she had gone from a cleaner to a hotel partner. Mr. Thompson, I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done for me. Martha, you did it for yourself. I just gave you the opportunity. The rest was your talent, dedication, and hard work. The opening of the Williamsburg Boutique Hotel was a success. Martha looked elegant in her navy blue suit, greeting guests and investors as both manager and partner. Tyler, now 19 and studying engineering at university, was proud of his grandmother. Grandma, remember when we thought it would be hard to pay for my college? Now you're a hotel owner. Tyler, never forget where we came from. All success comes from honest work and dedication. 2 years after the opening, both of Richard's hotels were among the highest rated in New York City. Martha had become a reference in the hotel industry and received invitations to speak at industry events. At one of these talks, she told her story. 4 years ago, I was a cleaner who scrubbed rooms and bathrooms. Today, I am a manager and partner of a hotel. The difference wasn't luck, it was hard work and the opportunity someone gave me to prove my worth. In the audience was Victoria, who had signed up for the event out of curiosity. Listening to Martha speak, she reflected on her own past behavior. After the talk, Victoria approached Martha. Martha, can I speak with you? Of course, Victoria. How are you? Fine. Martha, I want to apologize for the way I treated you in the past. I was going through some personal problems, but that doesn't justify being unfair to you. Martha smiled. Time had healed those wounds. Victoria, that's in the past. We all have difficult times in life. Could you give me some advice on how to get a promotion? I've been in the same position for 5 years. Victoria, the first thing is to treat everyone with respect, no matter what their position is. The second is to always look for ways to improve processes, not just follow routines. Thank you, Martha. I'll try to apply that. Martha went home that night, thinking about how much life had changed. She remembered that day when Victoria humiliated her over the broken glass and Richard defended her. That moment had been the turning point in her life. Richard's courage in defending her and believing in her potential changed everything. The next day, Martha sought out Richard. Sir, may I ask a personal question? Of course, Martha. Why did you decide to help me that day? What did you see in me that even I didn't know I had? Richard smiled, remembering that moment. Martha, that day I saw a hard-working woman being treated unfairly. But over these years, I've discovered you have something rare, the ability to lead without losing humility. How so? You've been promoted, gained responsibilities, become a partner, but you never stopped greeting the cleaners in the hallways. You never forgot where you came from. Martha was moved by Richard's words. Sir, what you taught me was much more than hotel management. You taught me that every person has value, regardless of their position. And you've applied that perfectly. That's why your staff respects you, not out of fear, but admiration. Years later, Martha created a foundation to offer vocational courses for people in vulnerable situations. Many former students found jobs in Richard's hotels. "Martha," said Richard during a foundation benefit gala, "you turned that difficult moment into something that's changing hundreds of lives." "Mr. Thompson, I learned that when someone gives us an opportunity, we have an obligation to pass that opportunity forward." Tyler, now an engineering graduate working at a major construction firm, always told his friends, "My grandmother is my greatest role model. She taught me that it doesn't matter where you were born or what position you hold. What matters is how you treat people and how dedicated you are to what you do." Martha continued living in the same modest house where she raised Tyler. Even with much improved finances, she said, "This house holds our story. This is where we dreamed of better days, and those days have arrived." Richard, at 65, began slowing his work pace and passed more responsibilities to Martha. She managed both hotels masterfully and was planning to open a third. "Martha, have you ever thought about opening your own hotel?" Richard asked one day. "Sir, why?" "Because you have the knowledge and experience for it, and I would be your first investor." Martha reflected on the proposal. She had experience, resources, and market knowledge. Perhaps it was time to aim even higher. "Mr. Thompson, if I decide to open my own hotel, I'd like it to cater to a special audience." "Which one?" "Senior citizens. A hotel with adapted facilities, suitable activities, and a staff trained to serve this demographic." Richard was excited by the idea. "Brilliant! The senior market is growing and underdeveloped in hospitality." Martha spent months studying the project. She wanted to create something unique, a hotel where elderly people would feel welcomed and valued. 6 months later, she presented the complete project to Richard. "Martha, this project is fantastic. You've thought of every detail." "Thank you, sir. Would you like to be my partner in this venture?" "It would be an honor." The Golden Years Hotel opened 2 years later in New York City's Upper East Side. Martha had achieved her dream of owning her own hotel. At the opening, she gave an emotional speech. "This hotel is dedicated to all who believe life can begin at any moment. I was 58 when my life changed. Today at 65, I'm opening my own hotel." The audience included her entire team from the other hotels, Tyler with his girlfriend, Richard with his family, and even Victoria, who had become a friend. "I want to thank Mr. Thompson, who saw potential where everyone else saw just a cleaner. And I want to tell all the women listening to me, it's never too late to start again." The Golden Years Hotel has become a benchmark in senior care. Martha developed partnerships with geriatric doctors, physical therapists, and activity instructors for seniors. "Martha," said Richard during a visit to the hotel, "you've created something very special here. This isn't just a hotel, it's a place where people rediscover the joy of living." "Mr. Richard, when I was a cleaner, I cleaned rooms for many seniors staying at our hotels. Many seemed lonely and sad. I wanted to create a place where they would feel at home." Richard watched Martha interacting with the elderly guests. She knew each one's name, knew their preferences, and treated everyone with genuine affection. "Martha, you have a natural gift for making people feel special." "Sir, I learned that by watching how you treated me. When someone treats us with dignity, we learn to treat others the same way." 5 years after the opening of the Golden Years, Martha received a National Excellence Award in hospitality. She was recognized as one of the most innovative business owners in the industry. In her acceptance speech, she said, "This award isn't just mine. It belongs to all the people who believed in a 58-year-old cleaner who had dreams bigger than her reality." In the audience, Richard applauded emotionally. That woman had become much more than a successful partner. It was as if she were a daughter he was immensely proud of. After the ceremony, Richard approached Martha. "Martha, I have something to tell you." "What is it, Mr. Richard?" "You changed my life as much as I changed yours." "How so?" "Before I got to know you better, I was just a business owner focused on profits. You taught me that true success lies in valuing people. That changed how I run all my businesses." Martha was moved by those words. "Mr. Richard, you were always a good person. You just needed to connect more with your employees." And you showed me how to do that. That night, Martha returned home thinking about her entire journey. From a humiliated cleaner to an award-winning business owner, everything had started with a man who had the courage to stand up for her when she needed it most. Tyler, now married with a young daughter, visited his grandmother regularly. "Grandma, little Susan wants to meet her great-grandmother's hotel," he said, arriving with his 2-year-old granddaughter in his arms. "Of course, let's take her to see it." At the golden years, Martha showed her great-granddaughter around the hotel, explaining each area. "Grandma Martha," asked Tyler, "do you regret anything about your journey?" "Just one thing." "What?" "That it took me so long to believe in myself. If I'd had the courage to show my ideas earlier, maybe my life would have changed sooner." "But Grandma, maybe you weren't ready before. Everything happens at the right time." Tyler was right. Martha realized that every difficult moment in her life had been necessary to shape her into the person she became. Years later, at 70, Martha decided to write a book telling her story. The title was "It's Never Too Late to Start Again, From Cleaner to Business Owner." The book became a bestseller and inspired thousands of people not to give up on their dreams. Richard, now 75 and retired, wrote the book's foreword. "Martha taught me that a true leader isn't one who commands, but one who serves. Not one who humiliates, but one who lifts others up." This extraordinary woman turned a simple broken cup into the beginning of a personal and professional revolution that inspired us all. At the book launch, Martha said, "This book is for all the people who think it's too late to change their lives. I want to say that no matter your age, your profession, or your background, if you have a dream and are willing to work for it, it's never too late to start." Martha continued managing the Golden Years Hotel until she was 75, when she decided to retire and spend more time with her family. The hotel was sold to a chain specializing in senior living, but she stayed on as a consultant. Richard remained her best friend and advisor. They had lunch together once a week, always at the restaurant of the first hotel where it all began. "Martha," said Richard during one of these lunches, "do you know what the best investment I ever made in my life was?" "What?" "Believing in you." "And do you know what the best thing that ever happened to me was?" "What?" "Finding someone who saw my potential when even I couldn't see it myself." At 80 years old, Martha still gave motivational talks from time to time. Her message was always the same: respect everyone, work with dedication, and never give up on your dreams. At one of her last talks, a young woman in the audience asked, "Ms. Martha, what advice would you give to someone going through difficulties at work?" "My dear, remember that every difficulty is an opportunity in disguise. When I was being humiliated that day, I didn't know it was the beginning of the biggest transformation of my life. But how do you keep hope in difficult times? Work well, treat everyone with respect, and keep your eyes open for opportunities. They always appear, even when we least expect them." Martha lived to be 85, always lucid and active. In her final days, surrounded by family, she said to Tyler, "My grandson, I've lived a full life. From a humiliated cleaner to a respected business owner, I learned that what defines a person isn't where they start, but where they choose to go." Tyler, now 52 and a father of 3, promised to keep telling his grandmother's story to future generations. Richard, who had become like a father to Martha, spoke at her funeral. Martha wasn't just an employee who became a partner. She was a woman who taught us that dignity, hard work, and perseverance can transform any life. She proved that a moment of injustice can become the start of a journey of achievements. The Golden Years Hotel created a room in honor of Martha, where her story is told to all guests. A plaque at the entrance says, "Dedicated to Martha Jenkins, who taught us that true greatness lies in lifting others as we climb." The foundation created by Martha continued operating, having already trained over 1,000 people in vocational courses. Tyler took over as president and kept alive his grandmother's mission of giving opportunities to those who need them most. Victoria, who had learned from Martha the importance of treating all employees well, became one of the most respected directors in the hotel chain where she works. She always tells new employees, "I met a woman who taught me that leading is about serving, not commanding." She transformed my way of working and made me a better person. Years after Martha's passing, Richard still visited the hotel restaurant where it all began. He always sat at the same table and looked at the spot where he had witnessed the humiliation that changed two lives forever. During one of these visits, the waiter asked, "Mr. Richard, why do you always sit at this table?" "Because it was here that I learned the most important lesson of my life, that defending the humble is the noblest thing a man can do." The story of Martha and Richard became legendary in the United States hotel industry. Business schools use their case as an example of transformational leadership and human value. Many business owners began paying more attention to their employees, especially those in positions considered less important. Martha's transformation inspired a shift in mindset for an entire generation of leaders. What began with a broken glass and a cry of indignation turned into a story of hope that continues to inspire people decades later. And so the cleaner who was defended by a millionaire proved that when someone believes in our potential, we can achieve accomplishments we never imagined possible. End of story. Now tell me what you thought of this incredible story of overcoming and dignity. Do you believe Martha deserved all the opportunities she received? Leave your opinion in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other moving stories like this one.